You know, when I was a kid, I called Goofy a goof. Now that I'm a father, I call Max a douche. Everybody says Aladdin is the best Disney movie, or Lion King, Little Mermaid, and those are all great films. Don't get me wrong. But none of them come close to
a Goofy movie.
Let's dive into the Rotten Tomatoes scores. The audience gave a Goofy movie 71%. The critics have given it 64%. Let's see why a lot of critics did not like this film. Steve Rhodes from IMDb says if they wanted to make a movie about Goofy, then they should have found a better script for him. A better script? It is a John Hughes film starring Goofy. That's what this film is. All it's missing is a Thanksgiving dinner and a scene where Max says his hand is caught between two pillows. How can you possibly have a better script? Did he want Goofy for his first feature-length appearance to give a 90-minute tutorial on how to make sourdough starter? What, you want Goofy and Max to fly with their capes and fight bad guys? Goofy has laser eyes. Is that what you're looking for? Like, what the frick? And you work for IMDb. You work for this company? And you're saying this about a Goofy movie? What's wrong with you? It's the best John Hughes movie John Hughes didn't make. Viewer discretion. I might get a little bit passionate over this film. Peter Stack from San Francisco Chronicle says, an incoherent mess that jumps from one unlikely brainless crash bang situation to another. You know, I don't think Peter got the assignment at all. He was told to go to the theater and watch a Goofy movie, but instead he went home and watched Goof Troop. I actually liked Goof Troop. I thought it was a pretty good show. They did the DuckTales movie. That was pretty good. That was fine. But I wish they had kept going. Rescue Rangers, well, I guess we got that movie a couple years ago. Tailspin would have been epic. Man, I really wish they kept going. But it's because of people like Peter Stack. All these idiot critics gave it a bad score and dissuaded audiences from seeing this movie. Like, I'm so mad at critics like Peter and Steve Rhodes from IMDb. They derailed a certain direction the animation studios were going, and they put a stop to it with these reviews. Disney looked at the reviews and said, oh, we can't keep making movies like this. Let's go back to the big epic fairy tales, and, you know, those are fine. But let's get some smaller stories, and they're not a sequel. Peter says it's chock full of crash bang situations. You see, that's what he's so missing the mark. Sure, it has a few goofy antics, but this film is so ridiculously grounded. So I always try to get my dad to watch cartoons. Rugrats, Doug. As a kid, you know, I'm thinking these are great, these are great shows. But, he would immediately say, give me the remote. And he'd change it to C-SPAN.
My fellow Americans.
Every night after dinner. And it just broke my heart. I wanted him so badly to appreciate the medium of animation. And nothing was doing it for him. Nothing. But I'll tell you, whenever the Disney Channel aired a Goofy movie...
A Goofy movie coming up on Disney Channel.
He did not ask for the remote. He sat there and he watched it with me. He actually enjoyed it. It is that good of a film. So I think Peter needs to go back and actually watch this movie. Clearly he was just fresh out of college and he saw too much of his dad and Goofy. So he was super embarrassed, and it was his way of getting back at his dad for embarrassing him. So he wrote this movie a bad score. Another Peter Rayner from Los Angeles Times says, if you're going to make something called a Goofy movie, why dampen the goofiness? Because then it just would have been stupid. You can get away with that in television, but in a movie, you have to have the ability to balance the humor and the heart. A film without heart is generic. And for God's sake, this film is anything but generic. A Goofy movie stands on its own because it's a generational film, and families can watch it together and each have a different perspective upon viewing the movie. You know, I told you the story about my dad actually sitting down to watch this movie with me. I'll never forget, the next morning I was eating Alphabets. Remember that cereal? And as my dad was getting ready for work, I spelled out, "Hi, Dad," in my bowl. So I showed it to him, and he said to me, he said, "You're an idiot. That's not soup. And you spelled dad wrong. And that was the only time he spoke to me the year I turned 26. So, because of this movie, my dad and I do go a long way back. Alex Sandell from Juicy Cerebellum says, Disney quickie without any heart. Alex is gonna tell me that he wasn't moved by Hi Dad Soup? Or when Goofy says that he can't stop his son from growing up but he wants to be part of it? What about the scene where Max yells at him after the possum show? I cried harder in this movie than I ever cried in The Lion King. Like in the tears department, Lion King has nothing on a Goofy movie. Part of the reason for that is because I ended up being jealous of Simba when his dad died. But Max, he drew closer to his father. They bonded. And, you know, some people don't get that. Derek Adams from Time Out says, insipid songs and not much story. I will have you know, Derek, that a Goofy movie soundtrack circulates in this household, and when that soundtrack comes on, we throw down. Yeah! You don't have to worry. If we listen to each other's hearts, I will never be far apart. And maybe love is the reason why I, for the first time ever, seeing it eye to eye. Baby, seeing it eye to eye. Tim Brayton from Antagony and Ecstasy says a Goofy movie is mired in instantly dated SOPs to early 90s pop culture. Of course it's standard operating procedure when the film was made in the early 1990s. That's like complaining that I'm acting like a dad when I really am a dad. I can't escape that any more than a Goofy movie can shed its 1990s influence. It's a product of its time, and yet it's completely timeless. People Staff from People Magazine says, sadly, one cannot say that a star is born. You're a little late there to the party, Lady Gaga. As everybody knows, Goofy was born May 1932. Get your facts straight. Because of this shallow review, I will never love again. Bill Hoffman from New York Post says, a Goofy movie looks slapped together with about as much care as a kid takes making mud pies at the beach. You know, honestly, Bill's right. Have you ever seen the care that a child puts in building mud pies at the beach? They are incredibly dedicated and zeroed in on that lump of sand, as though it's their magnet opus. It pulls their energy like a magnet. And the result is pure love and affection. Until the tide comes through, washes it away before you're ready. F you, ocean. F you. F you, ocean.
You're still mad at that?
Yeah, I'm still bitter about my Frozen castle being demolished last year. So anyway, that's how the crew approached a Goofy movie. I could talk about this movie all day, but we gotta move on. Most honest reviews go to Jordan Calhoun from Black Nerd Problems. Says, a Goofy movie isn't a nerd classic. A Goofy movie is a black nerd classic. A Goofy movie is unequivocally the blackest Disney movie of all time. Yeah, so in case you can't tell, I'm not black, so I can't really speak to this. But hey, Jordan seems to be giving voice to the black community. Step aside, Tiana and the Frog. Goofy's in town to take the crown of the biggest movie in town. Yeah, I'm white as can be, folks. I'd never claimed to be anything different. Bill Dupre from News and Observer, Raleigh, North Carolina, says the characters in a Goofy movie, for all their cartoonish ways, are a lot like you and me. And that's what gives the movie its depth and resonance. And then Betsy Sherman from Boston Globe says, overall, the scripting is sharp and emotionally satisfying. Man, I wish they made movies like this today. I would be taking my kids to the theater a lot more often. That's all I got for you. I'll see you in the next video. You take it easy. I got soup! Hi, Dad. Hi, Dad. You never said hi back. And I spelled it wrong. How do I spell that wrong? Okay, I'm good. Oh, just had to get it out. eye to eye, eye to eye, eye to eye, eye. That hurt. You okay? Poke my eyeball. Because I was doing the eye to eye. For me, now it says I one eye.